Ever since God of War Ragnarok was released, the God of War community has been a little bit of a downer. And to some extent I get it. After finishing God of War 2018, discussion about the series skyrocketed. This is mostly in part because we were all excited to see the conclusion of the Norse saga, as well as get some answers to some pretty important questions. But now that the Norse saga is concluded, the feeling I see a lot in the community is that of, that's it, there's nothing else to discuss. And while I agree that God of War Ragnarok doesn't tease nearly as much as God of War 2018 did, there are still some interesting things we need to talk about. And today, I thought I would do just that, as I'll attempt to give an answer to a question I'm sure all of you forgot about. Who was Thor's strange drinking companion? During the creators section of the game, we learned that many years before the events of God of War 2018, Odin sent Thor to Vanaheim with a mission to locate a military outpost. But Thor, being Thor, decided to first stop at the mead hall to have some fun. However, that day Thor wasn't drinking by himself.
I was at the mead hall. Thor was there. He had a strange drinking companion. Some sort of creature, the likes of which I'd never seen. It had this barrel of mead that seemed to never go empty.
This mention of a strange creature drinking out of a bottomless barrel seems odd to me, because his mention in the story serves no purpose aside from just being mentioned. He's never brought up again by Thor nor any of the Vanir gods we meet, which makes me think this might be Santa Monica's way at hinting at a future character. So what do you say we go down the rabbit hole and see where we end up? Now, when it comes to theorizing about anything, you have to start from the most likely answer, and in the case of a bottomless drinking dish, Norse mythology has something to say. In one of the most popular stories, both Thor and Loki set out to meet a giant named Utgard-Loki, no relation to regular Loki. Anyway, long story short, when they arrived to the castle, Utgard-Loki started taunting Thor and Loki for their minuscule size. So to prove their worth, Thor and Loki were given challenges. Thor would engage in a drinking contest as he thought no one in the 9 realms could best him in this activity. Utgard-Loki agreed to the challenge and informed Thor that if he could finish the mead horn in 1 drink, he would be considered a great drinker. However, if he finished the mead horn in 2 drinks, he would be considered a fair drinker. But if he finished the mead horn with a 3rd drink, then he would be considered a poor drinker. This didn't seem like a challenge to Thor, so he started drinking and drinking. But to his surprise, the mead in the drinking horn was barely going down. No matter how much Thor drank, there was always more mead. As you would expect, Thor lost the challenge. However, Utgard-Loki later revealed to Thor that he wasn't drinking from a regular drinking horn, as the far end of the drinking horn was magically connected to the sea. So every time Thor took a drink, he was actively lowering the sea levels. I don't know if it's just me, but I always wonder why the mead didn't taste like seawater. Maybe Utgard-Loki changed its taste too, I don't know. But you see, the mention of a bottomless barrel in God of War Ragnarok sounds very similar to the drinking horn in Utgard-Loki's story. And in regards to the strange drinking companion, God of War lore might actually have a pretty convincing answer, as many shrines in God of War 2018 depict the giants in various forms. There's human-looking giants, frost giants, fire giants, and stone giants. But there's also a group of giants that could fall in the category of strange creatures, as these giants are sometimes depicted with animal heads. So put yourself in the spirit's shoes. If you went to a bar and saw a dog man sipping martinis, you would think he was a strange creature. So maybe what the spirit saw at the mead hall was God of War versions of Utgard-Loki having a drink with Thor. However, I don't know why Utgard-Loki would be having a drink with Thor, the giant's worst enemy. Maybe in the God of War universe, Utgard-Loki was a giant who betrayed his kind and sided with the Aesir gods. We know Frey was also in Vanaheim at that time. Maybe much like Thor being sent on a mission to find a military outpost, Frey was sent by the giants to look for a traitor named Utgard-Loki. Stopping a traitor would be top priority mission for the giants, because by this point the giants already escaped to Jotunheim, which means Odin was desperately looking for a way into the realm. And if he became too friendly with a giant who had betrayed his kind, Odin could potentially learn the secret rune to travel to Jotunheim. I know there's a lot of you who don't want to even consider the possibility of a Frey game, but I'm telling you, a prequel game in the Norse setting has a lot of potential. Now, this theory isn't perfect, because this hypothetical traitor named Utgard-Loki, who so happens to have the head of an animal, hasn't been confirmed yet. In fact, there's some evidence that these animal hybrid giants don't exist. At least, not in the way the mural depicts them. The only animal hybrid giant we've come across is a statue of Thuraproof, one of the stags of the World Tree. However, this is not how the World Tree stags are portrayed in God of War Ragnarok. Sure, they are magical beings, but they're still 4-legged creatures, which might mean what we see in these murals is not an exact depiction of these types of giants. Also, the spirit mentioned a drinking barrel, not a horn. I know it seems like a nitpick in here, but sometimes the best theories just aren't very convincing. The way the spirit talks about this strange creature truly makes it seem like they aren't from any of the 9 realms, because if they were, I'm sure Mimir would at least have an educated guess as to who this creature could be. But much like us, Mimir is also puzzled by it.
Mimir, what do you make of this?
Thor has always loved a strong drink with questionable company, but I've never heard any word of his creature companion. This isn't a lot to go on, I'm afraid.
So if it wasn't a strange-looking giant, who was Thor's strange drinking companion then? I'm sure you saw this coming, but it's time to talk about other mythologies. The idea of bottomless containers isn't exclusive to Norse mythology. Even Kratos' homeland has a story that talks about a similar item. When 49 sisters referred to as the Danaides? I'm gonna go with Danaides. When 49 sisters referred to as the Danaides killed their husbands for reasons you don't need to know in this video, they were punished by the gods to carry containers filled with water and deposit them into a basin. Once they succeeded in filling the basin, they would be free from their punishment. However, this is a Greek myth, therefore this punishment needs to have a twist. The twist in this story is that the basin is covered in holes, meaning that no matter how much water the Danaides put in, it will never be filled. Now, I doubt very much that the spirit was referring to one of the Danaides being Thor's drinking companion. For one thing, none of them look like strange creatures. They're just regular looking women. And second, they don't carry a barrel. It's a basin and there's nothing magical about it. It simply has holes. And on top of that, the Danaides were not depicted as evil women. They were just obeying their father's command to kill their husbands. One of them didn't even commit the crime. That's why there's only 49 of them being punished instead of 50. So what I mean by this is that none of the Danaides would be caught drinking with someone like Thor. But in my opinion, there is one mythological creature that fits the spirit's description of the strange creature. A type of yokai that goes by the name of Umibuzo. If you've played the Neo series before, you have come across these creatures called yokais, whose actual description varies. Most people think they're just Japan's take on demons, but when you read good Japanese sources, it's not as cut and dry as the West makes them out to be. Yes, there are evil yokais, but there's also mischievous ones. And in the case of the Umibuzo, I would say his personality is a mix of a kraken and a sphinx. As it's said, the Umibuzo emerges from the deep sea and either immediately sinks the ship or gives the sailors a riddle. However, sometimes the Umibuzo will ask sailors to give him a barrel which he will later use to gather seawater and sink their ship. But if the sailors are smart, they will give the Umibuzo, get this, a bottomless barrel. This will leave the Umibuzo confused, giving the sailors enough time to sail away to safety. Out of all of the mythologies I looked at, the description of the Umibuzo seems to be the closest to what this spirit told Kratos. A strange looking creature drinking out of a bottomless barrel. But I'm sure you noticed this theory has a big problem. The barrel the spirit is talking about sounds magical, while the barrel in the Umibuzo story just seems to lack a physical bottom. And I also don't know why a sea yokai would be having a drink with Thor in Vanaheim. It's true that mythologies in the God of War universe do seem to influence each other, and one of Tyr's post-game animations resembles the sitting position martial artists do in judo, which originated in Japan. So it's possible there's been some intermingling between the Japanese and Norse pantheon. But from the spirit's description, it's just not clear if he was talking about a yokai. In order for this theory to be correct, Santa Monica would have to take some liberties, like they usually do, and give the Umibuzo a magical bottomless barrel that he would later use to fill with beer. Look, if I had to pick the most likely theory, I would still have to go with the Utgard Loki having the head of an animal. But just because it's the most likely theory, it doesn't mean that it will come true. We still don't know which pantheon the series will tackle next. Most likely it will be Egypt, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. So there's still a chance it could be Japan. And if that's the case, maybe future writers could connect the Umibuzo to Thor's strange drinking companion. But as it stands right now, the mystery of Thor's strange drinking companion will remain a mystery. Alright, so before I go, I need to say that one of my subscribers shared the Umibuzo theory with me in the comment section of one of my videos. But me being a big dummy forgot to save it in my subscriber theories folder, and now I can't find the comment anywhere, meaning I can't give the person who shared the theory proper credit. So, to whoever shared the theory with me, you rock and no one can take that away from you. But with that said, who do you think Thor's strange drinking companion was? If you have a theory, make sure to leave it in the comment section below. Because who knows, if I think it's good or even interesting, I might feature it in my next subscriber theory video. Which obviously means your life will finally have meaning. Now as always, I want to thank the people that go the extra mile to support the channel. People like Kabir Tandon, ETD Ken, Sabrina Homemaker, Squid Crafter, Coco1892, Christian Erasmus, and Kuro Nico, to name a few, are a big reason this channel is still going strong. So from the bottom of my Draugr heart, thank you. I would also like to thank those members and subscribers who like and share my videos. I know it doesn't seem like much, but trust me, this is the best way to put me in the algorithm. So with that said, thanks for watching, and remember, go forth in the name of Olympus.